ladies and gentlemen, how you doing today? My name is Bilify, and first things first, let's just say 60K! Oh my god, y'all are insane! If you've been a long-time subscriber, you already know the process. Drop down a comment below with your Roblox username, and make sure you have a game pass for 1,000 Robux, and then in an upcoming stream, which should be very soon, we're gonna go ahead and pick some winners for some free Robux! Yeah! Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, 60K! Dude, that's wild! Alright, back to the original video here. For the last 8 months, yeah, you heard me right, 8 months, we have been doing glove pulls to figure out which is the best glove. Now, this isn't set up properly. I started out by doing all the slap gloves, and then I did all the badge gloves, and then all the gloves that were missed along the way at the very end, so it's gonna exclude maybe 1, 2, or 3 gloves here in the future, depending on how long this takes, but it's just a fun little pull that we've been doing for quite a while that has a lot of interesting aspects to it. So our very first pull over 8 months ago was between the default and the diamond gloves, and you can see that the diamond glove banner has changed since then. But we had 3.1k total votes for our first one, and it was a lopsided victory with default smashing diamond. Absolutely obliterated it, 87% to 13%. Oh my goodness. We started off doing singles, and I realized this is gonna take ages, so I swapped it to doubles later on. The next pull that we had was extended versus the Z glove, and you can see the Z glove also changed here. This one was also a majorly lopsided victory with extended taking out Z's. Now I saw this happening, I also saw the default one happening, 91 to 9% with a total of 3k votes. Big difference there. The next poll after that was the brick and the snow gloves. This had 3.4k votes, and this was also a lopsided victory, believe it or not, but it was the snow with 89% beating brick. I didn't think it was gonna be this distance. I thought it maybe be like a 60-40 split, maybe 70-30, 90-10? Oh my gosh. Big split there, but understandable. And here we are at our first 4 glove poll. Almost 4,000 people voted, and the top 2 gloves out of these 4 that are advancing into the next round is gonna be Swapper and Flash. 74 and 19%. Pole and Spring did not have a chance. The next one after that was the Bull, Dice, Ghost, and Thanos gloves. If you want to interact with this, you can type a comment down below. Don't submit your answer. Whenever I'm reading out something, pause the video and then go down below and type in, oh, I think the Dice glove's gonna be winner this round, and then put a comma and then space, and even if you get it wrong, just leave it in your comment. That's one way you can follow this video, make it a little fun and interactive. If not, oh well, just keep watching. But we had 4.3k votes on this one, and the top 2 gloves for this one was very, very close. Not the first one. The first one I'm gonna give to you before I show you, it was the Ghost. The Ghost absolutely obliterated the competition. 75%. 3/4 of voters on this entire poll went to 1 glove. The next gloves here go from 7, 8, and 9%. So it was a 1% race for the last spot, and that last spot was taken up by none other than the Thanos glove. Yep, Thanos barely was able to beat the Dice glove by 1%. Absolutely crazy. The next poll was the Stun, the Zahando, the Fork, and the Magnet gloves, and a total of 5.1k votes. The 2 winners advancing are going to be Zahando and Magnet. Magnet had a really close race with Stun, but with 3% more, they prevailed and have moved on to round 2. Sorry to the Fort and the Stun, but you are out. The next poll featured Pusher, Anchor, Space, and Boomerang. Which gloves do you think advance here? With a total of 5k votes, the 2 gloves advancing are going to be Pusher and Anchor. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, the Anchor glove here surprised me the most. I figured Boomerang was gonna beat Anchor, but no, Anchor proved me wrong. You guys said I like the Anchor glove. So yeah, Pusher and Anchor both advancing. Sorry to the Space and Boomerang, you are both out. Our next poll featured the Dream, the Mail, the Thick, and the Golden gloves. Which 2 winners do you think won this one? With a total of 5.2k votes, our winners were the Dream glove and the Thick glove. Thick beat Golden 25% to 14%, and Dream had a 59% massive share win. The Mail glove was not the favorite of this poll with only 2%. I'm sorry, Mail, and I'm sorry, Golden, you both have been disqualified. Thick and Dream are advancing to the next round. Next up, we have the Squid, Cheeky, Reaper, and Replica gloves, which you can see 2 of the banners have changed since then. Which 2 winners do you think advanced here? The 2 winners advancing are the Squid and the Reaper. Both of these had 2 very major leads compared to the other gloves. 60% for Squid and 25% for Reaper, over Cheeky's 7% and Replica's 8%. Big strikes against those 2. I'm sorry, Cheeky and Replica, you guys are out of the tournament. Squid and Reaper are moving on. Now, for some odd reason, I decided to split round 10 into into 2 sections. I don't know why I did this. But we have kill streak against defense. If you had to choose, which one do you think's gonna win? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I know what you just said. Yeah, you're right. It is kill streak. 90 to 10%. This wasn't even a fair contest. 5.1k votes. People were like, this is easy. Get out of here. Now we have reverse against Shikuchi. This one I thought was gonna be a little bit more close, but it's not. Out of the 5.2k people that voted for this, 92% said reverse was better than Shikuchi. 92! It is, but I didn't expect it to be that big of a margin. I figured there was gonna be Shikuchi users who were like soul-bound to the Shikuchi, and it was gonna be maybe like at most 80%, but no, people were dedicated to reverse. Round 11 shows back up, and we're back to the quads. We have Duelist, Woe, Ice, and Gummy, and we can see that the only remaining banner that hasn't changed is Woe. And it shouldn't, because it's absolutely perfect. 6.3k votes. Which 2 gloves do you think are advancing? The 2 gloves advancing are going to be the Woe and the Ice gloves. Woe took it all with 77%, and Ice came in second with 14%. Duelist and Gummy a lowly 4 and 5%, knocking them out of this competition, leaving Woe and Ice to advance to the next round. Round 12 featured Adios, Blocked, Engineer, and Rocky. Out of all these, the Engineer is the only banner art that has changed since then, but with a total of 6.6k votes. Which 2 gloves do you think are advancing into the next round? The first glove was Blocked, and the second one, Adios. Surprising enough, Blocked took the commanding lead of 75%. Not gonna lie, I did not see that coming. And Adios second place with 13%. Engineer and Rocky had 5 and 8%. Very low, very low. I thought it was gonna be a lot more spread out than it was, but people seem to like Blocked for the trolling aspect of it. So Adios and Blocked advance, and Engineer and Rocky are out of the tournament. And now we arrive at round 13, and Balloony has not been added to the game at this point. We had Coil, Conveyor, Phantom, and Wormhole as our selections here. 6.5k people voted, and they chose for the Coil and the Phantom gloves to advance. And it was so close. You can see Coil had the commanding lead, which I fully expected, and Phantom just barely by 1% beat Conveyor. I'm so sorry, Conveyor users. You were so close to advancing on, but we're gonna knock you off, as well as Wormhole. Round 14 shows up with Stop, Track, Table Flip, and Shield. 6.3k people voted and chose for the Table Flip and the Track gloves to advance. So this poll pretty much ended the exact way I thought it would, because Table Flip is definitely a go-to glove for a lot of people, and if you're gonna be a troll, Track is another one. Round 15 featured Booster, Ping Pong, Baller, and Home Run. With 7,000 votes, the 2 gloves advancing into the next round are going to be Ping Pong and Home Run. This is another one where I figured this is exactly how it was going to go. Ping Pong with the majority, and then Home Run second. I'm sorry to the Booster and Baller clubs, you guys are out. Round 16 featured Whirlwind, Slicer, God's Hand, and the Flex with 9.1 thousand votes. The 2 gloves advancing from that selection are going to be the God's Hand and Slicer. Whirlwind came in with 2% of people were not messing with this. This might have been after the nerf. If it was pre-nerf, who knows, but this was definitely after. So congratulations to Slicer and God's Hands users. You guys are advancing on to the next one. Whirlwind and the Flex, you're out. Next up is round 17, which featured all of the Game Pass ones, with Overkill, Ultra Instinct, Spectator, and Custom. Out of these 4, which 2 do you think are advancing? 10,000 people voted, and they said that Overkill and Spectator are gonna advance, and Spectator beat Ultra Instinct by 1%! In my mind, I thought Ultra Instinct was gonna beat Spectator by like 5%, but it did not. Sorry, Ultra Instinct and Custom people, your groups are out, and Spectator and Overkill are advancing into the next. Round 18 featured Acrobat, Mega Rock, Plague, and the Hollow Jack gloves. Which 2 gloves do you think are going to advance into the next round? 10,000 people voted and said that the Mega Rock and Hollow Jack gloves are going to advance, which is understandable. I thought Acrobat might get a little bit more than 4%, but people love Mega Rock and people love Hollow Jack. So I'm sorry to the Acrobat and Plague users, you guys are out. Mega Rock and Hollow Jack users, you're moving on to round 2. Round 19 featured Redacted, Bus, Phase, and Mitten. Which 2 do you think are going to advance here? Almost 10,000 people voted and said that the Bus and the Phase gloves are gonna advance into the next round. Bus had 75% and Phase had 14%. Redacted and Mitten users, you guys are out. The Bus and Phase users, you guys are moving into round 2. Round 20 featured Warp, Bomb, Bubble, and Jet. Which 2 do you think advanced? 12,000 people put in their input and said that the Bomb and the Bubble gloves should advance into the next round. It was close between Bubble and Jet, but not close enough. Bomb had 61%, Bubble with 22%. Those 2 are gonna be advancing on into round 2. I'm sorry to the Warp and the Jet users, you guys are out. Round 21 featured Shard, Potato, Coal, Colt and Bob. 13,000 people put their input in and said that the Bob and the Shard gloves should advance. Bob took 88% of the votes. For the Potato and the Colt users, you guys are out. We're gonna advance with Shard and Bob. Round 22, that featured Buddies, Moon, Jupiter, and Spy. 13,000 people put their input in and said that the Spy and the Buddies gloves should advance. The Jupiter hate here was real. I don't know why, but Jupiter only got 1%, even though this glove is so usable in so many scenarios and so easy to get. We're gonna take these planets and we're gonna knock them out of here because we are advancing with Buddies and Spy. Round 23 featured Detonator, Rage, Trap, and Orbit. 13,000 people put their input in and said that the Detonator and Orbit gloves should advance, which highly understandable. Pretty much the exact way I thought this poll would go, although I thought more people would vote for Orbit. Sorry to the Rage and Trap crew. You guys are out. We're moving on with Detonator and Orbit. Round 24 featured the Hybrid, Slapple, Disarm, and Dominance gloves. 13,000 people gave us their input and they said that the Hybrid and the Slapple gloves should advance. Hybrid is the understandable winner on this one. You have 4 different gloves that you have in one. I mean, of course it's gonna be there. And Slapple, it's goated, you know? Disarm and Dominance crew, you guys are out. We're gonna advance on with Slapple and Hybrid. In round 25, it featured the Link, Chain, Rattlebones, and Charge gloves. 15,000 people gave us their input and they said that the Rattlebones and Charge gloves were advancing. They say, get out of here, Link, and get out of here, Chain. You can't go wrong with Larry. I understand why it got the majority of the votes. I'm sorry to the Link and Chain crew. You guys are out, and we're gonna advance on with Rattlebones and Charge. Round 26 featured Tycoon, Confusion, Glitch, and Snowball. 14,000 people gave us their input and said that the Tycoon and Glitch gloves should advance, which, very understandable. Although since the time of this poll, Snowball has been buffed, but I still think the poll would probably end up like this anyway. To the Confusion and Snowball crews, you guys are out. We're gonna be advancing on with Tycoon and Glitch. Round 27 featured Elude, RNG, Fish, and Moai. I'm pretty sure you can kind of guess which two won this one. But 15,000 people gave us their input, and Fish and Elude took it away, of course. 76% and 14%, easy victory for both of them. They're advancing on to the second round. I'm sorry to the RNG Moai crew, you guys are out. Round 28 featured Obby, Voodoo, Goofy, and Leash. 14,000 people gave us their input and said that the Leash glove and the Voodoo glove should advance on into the next round. Leash held the majority, which I expected, and the other three were in a very tight, close race, but Voodoo prevailed with 2% over Obby and 3% over Goofy. I'm sorry to the Goofy Goober gang, you guys are out, and I'm sorry to Obby, you guys are also out. We're gonna take Voodoo and Leash into round 2 and move on. Round 29 featured Flamerang, Kinetic, Berserk, and Sparky. 13,000 people gave us their input and said that the Flamerang should advance and the Sparky glove should advance. Flamerang with 75%, Sparky with 14%, the nearest competition at 6%. It was not a close margin. Sorry to the Kinetic and Berserk, you both are out. We're gonna advance with Flamerang and Sparky. Round 30 featured Boogie, Recall, Quake, and Psycho. 14,000 people gave us their input and said that the Psycho and Boogie gloves should advance. I thought this was gonna be a little bit more split between Psycho and Boogie, but no, Psycho had 80%. To the Recall and Quake gangs, you guys just didn't do enough. Boogie and Psycho are gonna advance on into the second round. Round 31 featured Kraken, Counter, Hammer, and Rob. I see a solid answer, but what do you think is the second one? 18,000 people gave us their input and said that Rob in first place should advance, and the second one was Counter. Hammer, I'm sorry, you only got 1%, you're out, and Kraken 4%, good try, I'm sorry, but you're also out. Counter and Rob are advancing on into the next round. Round 32 featured Rhythm, Rojo, Hitman, and Retro. 17,000 people gave us their input, and the top two advancing are going to be Retro and Rojo. I knew Retro was going to take the majority of it, but I didn't know Rojo was going to have that big of a lead over Rhythm. I figured those two were going to duke it out, and it was going to be real close, but surprising enough, people love the Hollow Purple ability a lot, so it is advancing on into the next one with Retro and Hitman and Rhythm. I'm sorry to your crews, but you guys are out. Round 33 featured the Knoll, Lure, Tinker, and Necromancer gloves. 16,000 people gave us their input and said that the Necromancer and Knoll gloves should advance. Necromancer is absolutely wild, and Knoll is crazy good used correctly, so understandable the way that this poll went out. To the Lure and Tinker crews, you guys are out. We're going to advance on with Necromancer and Knoll. Round 34 is where we start to feature gloves that got added after. So we had the Dual glove in this one, the Balloony glove in this one, as well as Excavator and Nightmare. 16,000 people voted and said that the Nightmare and Balloony gloves should advance, and it was so close between second place. Balloony had 10% of the vote, and Dual had 9. Excavator with 5, you're out. Dual, I'm sorry, you put up a great fight, but you guys, you're out. Balloony and Nightmare, you're advancing on into round 2. Round 35 featured Thor, Cloud, Gravity, and Jebaited. 14,000 people have given their input, and they say that the Jebaited and the Thor gloves are gonna advance. Cloud put up a very good effort to try to get into the second place with 9%, but Thor held on with 11 to advance. I'm sorry to the Gravity and Cloud users. You guys are booted, and we're gonna continue on with Thor and Jebaited in round 2. Round 36 featured 3 slap gloves and 1 badge glove. We had the Meteor, the Guardian Angel, the Sun, and the Alchemist glove. 14,000 people have given their input, and they say that the Alchemist and the Sun gloves should advance on into round 2. And I get that. I think this is a pretty accurate list. 75% to Alchemist, 12% to Sun. I'm sorry to the Guardian Angel and Meteor crews. You guys are both out. We're gonna advance on into the next round. And then round 37, which is the very last poll that was done 2 days ago, which encompasses every single glove in the game, it featured Parry, Druid, Oven, and Titan. Out of those 4 gloves, which 2 do you think advanced? Just about 10,000 people made it in 2 days to make this vote, but they selected the Druid and the Parry gloves to advance. It was a close race. Titan tried to beat out Parry, but it just couldn't get anywhere near. I'm surprised Oven got as low as it did. I figured this spread would be a little bit more, but people love that Druid glove. So I'm sorry to the Oven and the Titan crews. You guys are out of the tournament. We're going to advance on with the Druid and Parry gloves. Now you might be thinking to yourself, whoa, 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 hold on there, brother. You forgot Error. And you're right, I did. I did not include Error in my list, and I apologize for that. Maybe we do a Jester versus Error. Let me know in the comments if you want justice for the Error glove, and we'll do a poll for Jester versus Error when it does come out. But ladies and gentlemen, that is round 1. This was a very fun community thing to do, and I want to ramp it up in part 2. I don't want to take another 8 months to do this. So what we're going to do for round 2, we're going to continue to do the community post polls, but I'm going to do it once every other day, so make sure you come back and check, and even if you miss like a day, a week, whoever knows how long it is, you can go back and still vote until the video is released finishing round 2. I'm excited to see where this leads. I want to see what the community's final vote for the best glove is. It's just going to be very interesting to see. Congratulations again to all the gloves that advanced. I'm sorry to the ones who saw their glove leave early in round 1. It just is what it is. The community has spoken. Thank you everybody who did submit votes each and every week. For all of those that did, I very much appreciate it, and I'm excited to see where this round 2 takes us. Good luck to your favorite gloves if they're still in, and I hope that every single one of you have an amazing rest of your day or night whenever you do end up watching this, and I shall see you in the next one. Later!